Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I had my baby girl, and I wanted to come on here before I hop back into videos and introduce her and tell my birth story for you guys, because I did it briefly on TikTok, but I know a lot of you might not be on TikTok or whatever. A lot of you wanted to hear my birth story here on YouTube, so I'm here to tell it and introduce my baby girl. If you hear her, she's the noisiest little sleeper ever. So this is Briar Magnolia. I will insert pictures of her because she is going to be napping this whole video in the carrier. But Briar Magnolia Cantrell, she was born on September 28th, 2024, and she was our surprise gender. If you guys have followed along on my pregnancy, you would know we did not find out if we were having a boy or a girl. We found out at birth that she was a baby girl. A lot of you had guessed I was having a girl, and you were right. But yeah, she was born on September 28th. She weighed 6 pounds 10 ounces, a little itty bitty girl. She was born with a tooth. Fun fact, I have not shared that at all anywhere, so you're the first to hear it. She has a bottom tooth. She was born with it. I'll insert a picture of it. It's really funny. I love telling people, I love showing people. She's my special sweet girl. So yeah, kind of random, kind of funny. She is 5 weeks old today. No, she's 5 weeks old yesterday. 5 weeks old in general. She's the sweetest little girl. We're obsessed with her. She's the perfect addition to our family. So yeah, she has a head full of hair. So much hair, just like Cohen had. If you're curious how Cohen has been adjusting to being a big brother, he is actually the sweetest big brother ever. So much smoother than I expected it to. He's obsessed with her, constantly asking where the baby is, saying baby, kissing her on the head. Like, if anyone gets a kiss, it's gonna be this girl. He's seriously so sweet with her, and I couldn't be happier. He's done so well. Love my little babies, they're perfect. Let's get into this girl's birth story, my birth story. So we're gonna just start from the beginning. I'm gonna try to make it quick as I can and not make this video 8 years long. But starting on September 27th, I woke up at 3 a.m. ish with real contractions. Oh, wait, back it up. On September 25th, I got a membrane sweep at my 39-week appointment, because if you have followed along, I went early with Cohen. I was 38 weeks and 5 days, and I went to spontaneous labor, and I was 39 weeks and 1 day at my appointment, and I was like, do the membrane sweep. I was I think I was 3 centimeters and, like, I don't know, maybe 50-60% effaced. So we did a membrane sweep that day, and I had tried staying really active. And on September 27th, I woke up at 3 a.m. with real contractions finally, and I was like, we're having a baby today, woohoo. They were about probably 10-15 minutes apart, so I was just kind of going through them, timing them at 3 a.m. And they never really got closer by the morning, so I sent Bradley off to work, and I just was waiting for them to progress because they were still like 10 minutes apart. And they weren't getting any more intense, so I told my mom. She came over to hang out with me, and they literally never got any more intense or closer together, and I was crying because I was like, what? Like, these are real contractions and they're not going anywhere? What do you mean? Especially because everybody tells you with your second baby you are going to have such a quicker labor, you're gonna have the baby sooner, it's easier, yada yada yada. Wrong. Went to the mall, walked around the mall. Went to Costco, walked around Costco. And all day they were like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes I wouldn't have them for like an hour. Like, they were super inconsistent. I thought I was in prodromal. Is that how you say that word? Prodromal labor, false labor. I was so upset and so aggravated and in a horrible mood the whole day. Oh, see, mom brain is so scrambled right now. I was losing my mucus plug like the day before and that entire day, and I had a little bit of a bloody show with it. Kind of TMI, I don't know. You're here to watch a birth story. I don't think you care. But yeah, I was losing the mucus plug and bloody show all day that day. But yeah, my contractions were not getting any more painful. They were totally bearable. I was walking through them, talking through them, sitting, like nothing. It was like no big deal. So I was really upset because I was like, what is happening? By this time I was already admitted in the hospital with Cohen. So I was so confused, and we just tried to walk a ton. We went home. Bradley got off of work. We went on a long walk around the neighborhood, and nothing, I mean, I was still getting them. They just were not progressing. So I was like, Bradley and my mom said by like 8-9 p.m. we're gonna go to the hospital to check on the baby, just because you have been having contractions all day, and just make sure we're all good. So around 8:30 we put Cohen down for bed and packed up the car and went to the hospital. Finally, in the car ride, my contractions started to pick up a little bit. They weren't super painful, but they did get closer, about 2 to 5 minutes apart. Finally, at this point, I've been in labor for, do the math, I don't know, from like 3 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m. We get to the hospital around 9, and I go in through the emergency room because it's 9 o'clock. We get up there, I get checked. I was 4 centimeters, and I had a bulging bag, as the doctor called it. So my bag was like really close to breaking. So they admitted me, which I was so shocked, but it boosted my mood because I was like, okay, we're getting close to having a baby at least. So I got admitted around 9:15 p.m. on September 27th. And they were like, okay, bounce on the ball, like get things moving. Your water's probably gonna break pretty soon. So that's exactly what I did. Still, the contractions were not that, like, they were not unbearable at all. And I feel like when I was having Cohen, I was in a lot of pain. So I was just like, I'm literally gonna be in labor forever. I was walking around the hospital, bouncing on the ball, and I started to get some back labor. It wasn't horrible yet, but it was definitely like getting worse and worse. And I did not like the medicine ball this time. I lived on the ball when I was having Cohen, not this time. Also, I planned on getting an epidural once my water broke, so I was waiting on that to happen. And yeah, I was so tired at this point because, I mean, I had been up all day long since 3 in the morning. I was so tired. I was really considering getting the epidural just because I was like, maybe I can get it and just take a nap before I have to push this baby out, because I'm exhausted. I was really scared to get the epidural too early just because I thought it would slow everything up more. So I was like, no, I'm gonna wait till my water breaks. So my contractions started to get more painful, and like I said, I was having really bad back labor, and my nurse was like, okay, baby's probably sunny side up, so we're gonna try to do some things to flip the baby. She had me on my side with like my leg over, and she was like shaking my hips, both sides for a while through contractions. She put me like basically in downward dog on the bed. She was like shaking my butt for a while through contractions, which was horrible. Oh my gosh, I thought I was about to have a baby in that position. She wanted me to do the mile circuit. I was like, girl, I'm not about to do the mile circuit right now. Like, I'm having contractions, I'm so tired, it's not happening. So probably around 1:45, I was like, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna try to lay in the bed and literally close my eyes through these contractions and see if I can get a little bit of sleep. So around 1:45, I went and laid in the bed, and I was laying on my side. I don't know how long I was laying there, to be honest. Maybe a while, like maybe like 15, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. Heard and felt a pop like in my stomach, so I was like, that's my water, and I got Bradley to come help me up off the bed, and there it was, my water broke. So I was like, give me the epidural. It was around 2:15 and my water broke. Bradley went out to the nurse's station and said, 2:15 a.m. Bradley went out to the nurse's station and said, okay, she wants the epidural, her water just broke, and they said, okay, they're in the C-section, they'll be at least an hour. Okay. I was going to the bathroom, sitting on the toilet, if you know, you know, the dilation station. So I was sitting on the toilet, water was breaking into there, water was breaking on the floor. I was like, they were really getting painful. Obviously, when your water breaks, it's kind of like releases the cushion with contractions, so it just hurts a lot more. The back labor was seriously so insane. It was so bad, but I, at this point, was in so much pain. I was like, okay, I need some kind of medication. The epidural's taking way too long. So I told the nurse, I need something. Give me something, girl. So she was like, okay, I can get you something, but I have to check you first to see where you're at. So she checked me around 3:08 a.m. and I was 6 centimeters and 90% effaced, and I'm like, that's it. Been in labor 24 hours at this point and only 6, and I'm not even fully effaced. Are you joking? Also, my doctor was not on call, unfortunately. She was not on call, and she was helping another doctor, so she couldn't come in. And we had only seen the doctor when I was in triage to get checked, so the nurse was just kind of in and out. So the nurse checked me, 6 centimeters, 90% effaced, and said, okay, I have to go to another room. I'll be right back to give you this medication. I gotta go check on my other patient, whatever. I'm like, okay. I'm having contractions so painful. I'm sitting up on the bed, like kind of, the bed's in the position like a chair kind of, and I'm sitting up, and I was like like hugging my mom basically because she was next to me. Bradley's in front of me. They're both trying to like, what can I do? And I just start screaming, like basically like yelling. My mom described it as she could hear the contraction in my scream, basically from my like toes up to my head and back down. You know how, okay, you don't know if you've never been in labor, but if you have, contractions kind of like peak pain, then they go back down. She said she could hear the scream like get higher or louder and then go back down. And at that point, I had literally felt the baby go down, like drop, I guess you could say. And I start reaching down at my crotch and I'm like, also, throughout this whole thing, I'm literally telling my mom and Bradley, I'm so scared, I'm so nervous, I'm so scared because I knew I was not getting that epidural. I felt her drop. I kept reaching down and I'm like, is she coming out? And Bradley looks and is like, no. And I felt like I had another contraction, same thing, kind of screamed, and I'm like grabbing and I'm like, she's coming out. And Bradley and my mom take a little peek down there and they're like, because her head was out. Her head popped out, okay? No nurse, no doctor in the room. My husband gets down, literally down there, and is holding her head, and they're freaking out. My mom and husband are like, ugh. Bradley's like, should I go get someone? My mom's like, absolutely not. You're staying here to catch this baby. She ran out in the hallway yelling, saying, the baby's out, the baby's out. And another nurse from another room, she was pregnant 34 weeks, comes running out and comes into our room. And then my nurse is like, what's going on? And my mom's like, the baby's out. And she's like, oh, like I thought she was gonna go quick, but not that quick. The baby was sunny side up, by the way. Bradley said she came out looking up at the ceiling. So the nurse comes in, she's getting gloves. Bradley's like, forget the gloves, get this baby. The nurse gets there and is like, you have another contraction to push. And I'm literally like, I haven't pushed once. I had another contraction. I like slightly pushed just because at this point I'm like, I have a baby hanging out of me, get this baby out. She came out. I had fetal ejection, basically did not push her. She fully came out once the nurse was there and she got her, and her cord was wrapped around her ankle a couple times, so they got that untangled before I was like, she was up here. She came out perfect though, screaming, crying, great color. She was great. I was just like in so much relief. It's so insane how you go from so much pain from contractions, truly the part where the baby comes out. Oddly, I did not have the ring of fire that I recall or like really feel any of that, like other than the contractions pushing her out basically is what I felt. Yeah, so much relief. Once the baby's out and the contractions are done, you're just like nothing else matters. You're just like, oh my God, thank God. Thank God she's healthy, thank God she's here. You know, that's how it was. So I gave birth unmedicated without the intention to. I was totally planning on getting an epidural. Yeah, so she was born at 3:15. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, it was about, what, 8 minutes? About 8 minutes since from the time, or 7 minutes, 8 minutes-ish, from the time I was 6 centimeters being checked to her out. What? She literally flew out of me. Bradley almost delivered his daughter and it was really chaotic. There was no doctor. The nurse came in, she delivered the baby. Oh, also, surprise gender, right? We're trying to take a peek. We're like, what do we got here? Her cord was in between her legs, so we didn't know. My mom, Bradley, me, we're all kind of like, what is it? And the nurse was like, oh, want me to say? Am I allowed to say? And we're like, yeah, girl. So she told us it was a girl. So that was really fun. I don't have videos or many pictures from the actual delivery because like I said, it happened so quickly. Really chaotic because we had no doctor, no nurses. There was, yeah, it was chaotic. The doctor came in. I did tear this time around. I did not tear with my first, but she came out so fast and came out sunny side up, so I did have a 2nd degree tear. Basically that's all the doctor did was stitch me up, or she delivered the placenta and then stitched me up. Ouch. That part is so painful because I had no numbing. They did like a lidocaine shot, which yeah, that part was really awful. But they did that. Luckily I was holding her, which definitely helped me through that. But that was the delivery of our sweet, special, perfect Briar Magnolia. Very, just not at all what I had imagined this delivery to be like. With my 2nd, I thought it was gonna be like quick labor, pop the baby out, easy peasy, fun, like doctor lifting the baby up and saying it's a girl or whatever. Nope. That's the story of my labor and delivery. The gist: my husband almost delivered this baby with no experience. He's like, do I pull? We're all just like, no, just don't let her fall into the ground, basically. Another little funny invisible string moment. When I was pregnant with Cohen, before his gender reveal, I had a dream. So I didn't know he was a boy yet. I had a dream that I was having a baby girl and she was born with teeth, lots of hair and teeth. That was the dream. I had told Bradley and my mom, and they remember me telling them that when I was pregnant with Cohen. Obviously Cohen was a boy. But it's like I dreamed of her like, what, a year and a half or 2 years before? That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, I'm about to run out of storage, so I love you guys. So happy to be back. I hope you enjoyed this. Out of storage, so love you, bye. Mwah.